I'm Mark Seifter.
And I'm Linda Zayas-Palmer.
And this is Arcane Mark. Welcome to the mysterious Harrowing. Today we will be reading the fortunes of Arcane Mark fans. Rexa Liquid, Night Trace, and Spartans 282.
All of these people have purchased a mysterious Harrow card, a reward that was stated to do nothing. But thanks to the requests of fans, we have decided to perform harrowings for people who have purchased this reward.
Ooh.
Oh, there's Rexa.
Now, Harrowing's ability to read the future is purely fictional. Arcane Mark is not responsible for any unfortunate fates you may meet that seem to match the cards on this mysterious Harrowing.
The cards do seem to have a way to map with things that happen in the future.
That's right.
Just like the horoscope.
That's right. And many other very accurate fortune telling.
Did you know that you are someone who sometimes follows the crowd and sometimes charts your own path?
I didn't. But now I do. It's so true. That's exactly me.
Aker says if we win the lottery, we have to cut you in. No, you don't have to. But if the Harrow reading does somehow lead to you winning the lottery, we'd appreciate a sub.
We were looking at the highest cheer category for Twitch, and if you cheer 5 million bits, it gets the highest category. We're like, who would ever do that? But someone who was cutting us in for winning the lottery might.
Yeah. We were like, what could you possibly do for someone who spent $50,000 on your show? It's like,
run a game every week.
Run a game for you and your friends
for
every
year.
week for a year. Like... Because, like, if they spend that amount of XP...
thanks for gifting a sub.
Thanks for the gift sub, Numba. Let's get you some XP for that, shall we? Alrighty.
Linda, you have to go to manage users.
Manage users. Okay, yes. Thank you.
And it's alphabetically backwards, but you can also do that, and then you go to edit, and then say 250. Yep. You got it.
Yep. I do the XP for patrons.
That's a good point.
I'm familiar with that. I just blanked temporarily on which tab.
It's very hard to see.
Organization is not.
It's also hard on Twitch. Did you know that the cheer rewards emojis are not under emojis? They're under cheer badges, which are mostly badges, but then have this other emoji that's in them.
Also, you have to click on this random triple line next to Stream Manager, and then scroll down to Preferences Affiliate.
Oh yeah, well I knew that because of the fact that the old version of it also had Preferences Affiliate.
Yes, Numba, you broke 20K. I did go back and do, I filled in all of our overdue Patreon reward XP yesterday, so people who are patrons should have just seen a surge of XP there. Oh my god,
it's a basket with the gourd lushy in it.
It's a basket with the gourd lushy in it. You know, our emojis really seem to go pretty well with these Easter skins.
That's true. All right, so let's get started with harrowings. And since Rexa Liquid is here, we can start. Rexa Liquid has 2, Night Trace has 4, and Spartans 282 has 1. So, Rexa Liquid, is there any sort of endeavor that you are soon to perform in your life that you need a fortune told?
You may also be someone who has these alternate personalities, say, these characters that you might embody that would have struggles in their lives that you might wish to read more into the future to see what may befall them.
Who isn't someone who has alternate personalities?
Indeed. First for him, and then for a character.
I see.
Well, Rexa Liquid, what sort of matter would you like us to read into? a general reading, or is there a matter that you would like us to delve into with more specificity?
Yes, you can read for a general reading of the future or for a particular endeavor. The rulebook doesn't have this, but for tarot card readings, some people do love readings. The rulebook doesn't really talk about that. For harrow readings, though, possibly because it might be really awkward to do at the table.
Moving up to Omaha.
Moving up to Omaha.
Ah, we have a move. Let us see what the cards say.
Let us see what the cards say about the Omaha.
The past. The present.
And the future.
And the future.
Ah.
Here's our past. I see some perfect alignment.
Yes, there is a perfect alignment of the winged serpent. Aha, the present. And the future. In the past, we have a perfect alignment of the winged serpent. The winged serpent is a powerful being that knows when to bridge knowledge and prudence. It represents that bridge, knowing exactly when the time to strike is. That means that in the past, you knew exactly when to move to Omaha using knowledge and prudence, and this would be the correct time. Except, let's take a look at the present and the future. They will modify this. We have the Tangled Briar
we have some complications in the present.
The Tangled Briar and the Empty Throne are both misaligned. Neither are perfectly misaligned. That means that it's unlikely to be one of these two. Ah, I see. The Tangled Briar. Something from long ago will have great influence on the situation. The thing from long ago that has great influence is usually one that was lost, murdered in some foul way. Something, but misaligned means that the thorny past brings not just pain, but hope for the future. Now, in the future, we see that there is no perfect alignment, but we do have the eclipse, as well as the sickness. So, the eclipse says self-doubt and loss of purpose. So, some sort of illness may bring a self-doubt and loss of purpose. It can indicate stress that finds a way to winnow your faith in your talents or even what you were going to do before. A loss of way along a path. So there may be some sort of great illness that might make you lose your way along your way to moving to Omaha. And unfortunately, it is going to have to be up to you to overcome this eclipse.
Rex says, BRB, washing my hands.
I see. Well.
Is that one actually? Yeah.
I don't know. I see. There we go. So, that is the reading of this harrowing for your move to Omaha. It was just the right time, but something came to obstruct it, and now it might be in doubt due to a disease.
Yes.
The harrow has spoken.
Very fitting, says Rexa.
The harrow always knows what's happening.
Okay. So this one, Rexa Liquid is calling upon the power of the harrow to learn something about the fortunes for a character that resides within his mind.
Is the character performing any sort of endeavor? Perhaps heroic deeds. It could be helping people against dragons with portals, or in a circus, or even not either of those two things.
Your paladin Soren's Shadowblight will be venturing to Katapesh soon.
I
see in the past the paladin is perfectly aligned.
Yes. The Katapesh, the bazaar of the bazaar, where anything can be purchased for the right price.
The goblin is having trouble completing a bridge.
I see. Well, let's talk about what's happening here. A goblin is having trouble completing a bridge, and so your paladin heads to Katapesh. Well, in the past, there is a perfectly aligned paladin, standing strong in the face of adversity. The paladin did not back down under any circumstances, indicating the need to stay the course and do what you know is right, even if it takes a heavy toll. There's also a somewhat aligned foreign trader, indicating some mild elements of the foreign trader, which is the card of spies and peddlers, those who trade information, and those who will be able to give you anything you want, but for an unusual price or bargain.
And that is in the past.
In the past, yes. In the present, we have the betrayal.
Misaligned.
So it is misaligned though, yes. And since it's perfectly misaligned, that's the one that we read from this column. Selfishness incarnate, envy twists the spirit and leads ultimately to destruction and devastation. It can indicate a person whose loveliness hides an evil heart. Misaligned, it means self-sacrifice or turning away from the material world and its temptations. When you go to Katapesh, you might see many things that surprise you. Drugs, slavery, and all sorts of material temptations and evils. But when you turn away from the temptations of Katapesh, only then will you be able to find the truth of your future, which is a perfectly aligned juggler. The juggler might seem to be a card that's all about manual dexterity, but it's actually a card about playing with the lives and destinies of others. If this juggler keeps up their rhythm, they will achieve their goals, but in a misaligned placement, they may falter and cause disaster. Here, it's perfectly aligned. That means you're going to need to juggle many different things in Katapesh.
Seems the paladin will face many challenges.
But if you can do so and keep up your rhythm, keep up all sorts of issues in Katapesh, there may be many subsystems in your future that you have to keep track of. Get some edges, do an infiltration, those kind of things. If you can do all of that, then you will be able to achieve all of your goals. So, that is what will happen in Katapesh.
Woo! We recall the cards. Now, we haven't seen Spartan in a while, so why don't we do Spartans to give a little more time for
Alright.
our final fortune reader to show up.
I think we saw Nitrace for a short time one time recently.
Yes. Not only drawing the Paladin Rexa, but drawing a perfectly aligned Paladin.
There's only a 1 in 54 chance to draw the Paladin in exactly the perfect alignment spot.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty. So, we are now harrowing for someone who themselves is very mysterious.
Yes.
A Spartans 282.
Yes. We'll see what happens in Spartan's future with a mysterious future. We won't do it for a particular endeavor.
Yes. For we do not know the endeavors of Spartans 282.
But the Harrow does.
Tell us.
Yes, the Harrow knows. I see. Oh. The past for Spartans.
And here is the present.
Oh.
Misalignment.
Much misalignment in the suit of wisdom.
Yes. How is a card perfectly aligned? Asked Joe.
If it shows up in exactly its own alignment. So Paladin is lawful good. If it shows up in the positive past, then it's perfectly aligned. If juggler is chaotic good, so if it shows up in the positive future, then it's perfectly aligned. For example,
if there's a way to get
the
this.
Lost
So this is the Lost.
Chaotic evil.
Yes.
You have to do it normally because the thing is...
The camera is double inverted, yes.
The camera.
So if this one showed up in the
negative
future spot, which is that bottom right-hand corner, you can see from the symbol on this that its symbol for wisdom is in the bottom right-hand corner.
In fact, the Lost and the Eclipse are both, if they had switched, they would both be perfectly aligned.
Yes.
But they're still the ones that are red from their column, and the midwife is going to be red inverted.
And then misalignment is when it's on the opposite side.
Yes. And there's a priority order to which ones you read, because you usually only read one from each column, but if there's multiple that are perfectly aligned, you actually have to do a combined fortune. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, you read more than one. Alright, so, the Lost in the past. Oh dear, we're reading all from the Suit of Wisdom.
Yes.
So, it is the card of emptiness and loss of identity. It shows a Bodak, forever mad, lost in a world of mass killers and just general strange ailments of the mind. For those under its influence, the world makes no sense. It evokes times where all is babble, as when meeting someone who speaks only in another tongue. So, the emptiness, the loss of identity. It says that in the past, Spartan has been hard to understand, or perhaps has even stopped watching this show. Mm-hmm. Woo. But then, in the present, is the midwife. The midwife is a conduit to creation. The halfling is a key to new life or information in the world. She can see the good in even the worst situations and the import of any new arrival. But if the card is misaligned, the new arrival will not inspire much joy. Something new came in Spartan's life, but it wasn't a good thing. It was bad. And then the Eclipse.
The Avalanche is perfectly misaligned there.
Ah, you're right. The Avalanche is perfectly misaligned, so it wins over the Eclipse. Mm-hmm. But the Eclipse is also very strongly misaligned, so they may both be red. But the Avalanche is the primary hero. Is a disaster, an unthinking, unreasoning thing that overruns all who got in its way. A physical disaster, the disaster of a panicked crowd, or an unthinking group, or even a giant pandemic. A pandemic or a calamity has occurred, but it is likely to be averted, but not without cost and consequence. The Eclipse, again, is also seen hanging out with something that represents this pandemic. It's exactly the same one from the first Harrowing about doubt and stress and a loss of purpose. That's hanging out with something that could represent the pandemic just because the Harrow know that this is a danger that could happen.
Well, according to the Harrow, we should all be sending our best wishes to Spartan 282.
That's true. Just all sorts of negative things that can happen, but they can be averted, not without cost.
Indeed.
I hope you're feeling better, Spartans. The Harrow has revealed the truth.
That is perhaps the most negative Harrow spread I've ever seen.
It's pretty negative. Because the midwife, when she's averted, is not the greatest. It's actually, in the adventure card game, the midwife is one of the few good aligned cards that is bad to have on the hour.
Outro likes how the rules fit so much for Harrowing. They really feel like a ton of tarot divination that could exist on Galarian.
They could indeed.
So, is Night Trace here?
I'm pretty sure Night Trace is not here.
Night Trace has requested 4 readings from us. Yet, Night Trace is not present.
Many of those readings were requested long ago, when the mists of darkness were upon this world.
Yes.
And the sound was of lower quality because of not having the Yeti mic.
Back in those dark days.
That's right.
Well, let us start with a general reading.
We can start with a general reading.
And then perhaps chat can assist us with coming up with some other things.
That's right.
A general reading for Brian Night Trace.
Yes. Brendan.
Oh, Brendan, yes.
You've combined Brendan with Rexel
yes.
with Rexaliquid / or just conflated him with Rocket Lettuce.
Yes. I misspoke, thank you for correcting me.
You are welcome. The cards know only the truth.
The cards know only the truth. I was actually looking at the cards more, so...
Blame the cards.
Yes, I blame the cards.
Alright, there's 2 perfect alignments here, as well as some other things. So, when it comes to Night Trace, it's a slightly better story. In the past, the hidden truth is the ability to see past the obvious and banal to a greater truth within. Sometimes an esoteric discovery, sometimes a literal item that is found. So, in the past, Night Trace found something very interesting. Perhaps mysterious tarot card rewards. But in the present, now, there's an issue. The juggler misaligned, as we mentioned previously. That means meddling with the fates of others, trying to juggle all sorts of situations, but faltered in keeping up the rhythm. Meaning tragedy and failure are assured for those whose lives he meddled in. But, in the future, we have the Demon's Lantern. The Demon's Lantern is the card of traps, treachery, tricks, sleight of hand, and sleight of mind. The will-o-wisp of the Demon's Lantern and the man who seek their light represent an impossible or intractable situation. So the future presents an impossible or intractable situation, possibly because of trying to juggle too much after finding such a wonderful hidden truth. And that is Night Trace's Harrowing.
A general reading, yes.
Yes. But what of the other 3 Harrowings? Maybe chat has some ideas of some other Harrowings we should do for Night Trace.
Do we know anything about Night Trace's alter ego, shall we say?
Only what the cards demand.
Perhaps we can do a reading for the next of Night Trace's alter egos to take the stage.
We also know the level 2 characters that people purchase themselves for Night Trace.
Oh yes, we could do harrow readings for them.
Like Night Racer.
Yes.
What was the other one?
That we built for Night Trace specifically?
Yes.
Oh gosh. Harrow, yes. The Harrow does not speak with such specific tongues. Well, I shall have to consult the almighty Discord to remind me which one of these was specifically for Night Trace.
Only Discord knows that in the
Discord.
secret subscriber channel.
We have ventured into the secret subscriber channel. And here we search.
Just look up Night Trace.
For Night Trace.
There we go. We have
There's
Night Racer, Arcane Failure. That's one. And the other one is
Richard the Lesser. Yes. So we have Richard the Lesser with his halberd of freedom, his javelin of distant freedom, his natural ambition that gives him the deity's domain of freedom, and a note reminding him to buy an explorer's pack.
That's right. A note reminding him to buy an explorer's pack.
Shall we call upon the fate of Richard the Lesser first?
Very well.
Richard the Lesser the younger cousin of noted Iomedean paladin Richard the Greater. Richard is a fan of games, gambling, and risk-taking. Perhaps Richard prefers other, more profane uses of the Harrow deck, such as using them to play games of gambling and chance.
Like towers?
Like towers, instead of preserving them for their proper role as tellers of fortune.
We'll see what the Harrow thinks of that.
Indeed. Richard the Lesser. What is your fortune? Oh, I'm drawing from the bottom, that's why it's... Yes.
That's why it's really weird?
Yes.
Really
Nonetheless,
weird.
I shuffled, so it is still fine.
You shuffled. Ah, well, we have the waxworks imperfectly misaligned in the past.
Aha. Richard the Lesser.
The waxworks is a place of helplessness and physical entropy. The mind is willing, but the flesh is frozen in place. It is the kind of torture and imprisonment, signifying literal inability to move or paralysis of a more prosaic kind. Misaligned, it's an abundance of energy at a crucial moment that changes all out of that stasis.
Ah, perhaps that speaks to Richard's deep and abiding love of freedom and his personal model of release, uncontained, preserve.
Yes, where he wants to break everything that's out of its imprisonment, even if that thing should be imprisoned, such as Ravagug.
Yes.
That's right. It definitely speaks to that. That's what was happening in the past. Richard was just breaking things out of their stasis. Breaking things out of their prison. But we also have a somewhat, let's see, we have the possibility to read
Winged Serpent or the misaligned Empty Throne, yes.
Well, so the Winged Serpent says that the time is right, as before. Seize the moment. And the Empty Throne, of equal value, is a sense of loss that shows that the lessons of the past are there for those who will listen. But if misaligned, the ghosts of the past are restless and might require effort to set at peace. There's some ghosts of the past, of this letting everything free, that are coming back. But the Winged Serpent says it's still time for Richard the Lesser to take that opportunity right now. And then a perfectly aligned mountain man
speaks. Of what wisdom does the mountain man speak?
An encounter with a physical power outside of one's control, an authority, an army, an earthquake, or even a desperately needed rainstorm in a parched land. Ceding to the force might be wide, but surviving is paramount. So
it seems likely that
some kind of physical, natural force.
Yes. Perhaps Richard the Lesser's tendency to unleash everything may cause trouble. Does Richard the Lesser climb to the top of a mountain and trigger an avalanche to unleash the rocks?
In either case, surviving is paramount. Richard must survive this. Whatever Richard has triggered here, the ghosts of the past to a restless and come back to haunt. Now is the moment to survive. This is what the Harrow says.
Yes. Ooh. But what does the Harrow say about Night Trace's other character that we have built for him?
Night Racer. Arcane Failure.
Arcane Failure.
Night Racer is an elf who was supposed to learn about arcane spells but continually could not learn them. And then wound up falling in with a crowd of vampires wearing fake vampire teeth to try to pretend to be one too so that they wouldn't kill Night Racer. Night Racer was an undead-blooded sorcerer, which allowed Night Racer to heal from negative effects and otherwise seem to be a vampire to them. Night Racer joined the Pathfinder Society after writing a sociological work of the time among vampires and their infrastructure. Just as Night Trace has written books about vampires for RPGs.
Yes, a strange parallel.
Yes.
How could that parallel have come to be?
Only the Harrow knows for sure. Alright, well, it seems that there are many jugglers today.
Yes.
But there's also the Keep. The Keep is, very importantly, for the juggler, the Keep is a quiet symbol of strength that stands firm through any hardship, cannot be shaken by any force. But misaligned, it means giving way to temptation or falling in the face of greater strength. That's there with the juggler, but not misaligned. So that means keep up the rhythm to achieve your goals, but beware, for you may fall in the past. So, in the past, he was keeping up rhythm to attain his goals, but was in danger of falling to a greater strength. That has to do with the vampires, who would have defeated him no matter what. But, fortunately, he managed
was able to keep enough plots running in the air to keep himself safe.
Yes. But what else do we have? A perfectly misaligned midwife.
Yes.
Once again...
The new beginning, a new arrival, but not one that brings much joy.
Yes. That means that the latest Pathfinder Society mission for Night Racer is very negative indeed.
Yes, Joe wants to inform us that he is sure that his was a harrowing tale living amongst those blood-sucking fiends.
That's true.
Harrowing indeed.
Harrowing indeed. The future is much, much murkier.
Yes.
It has nothing that is even remotely aligned in the future.
Yes.
What this means for the future is simply that we have a mix of these all.
Yes.
The Queen Mother, knowledge personified, representing those who can give information, helping those who are willing to come and supplicate themselves at the feet. Whereas the Inquisitor demands truth in all things, immutable reality, and the Winged Serpent says to strike. So, there will be a wisdom, a truth, that it comes in the moment, and that is what Night Tracer must cling to avoid the terrible danger of whatever unwelcome new arrival comes.
So, we have read the future for Brendan and two of his alter egos.
Yes.
Yet he has called for one other reading.
That's true. He has accidentally called for 4 Harrow readings.
Yes. What shall we read next?
I don't know. What do you think we should read, chat?
If chat doesn't have any ideas, we have before us multiple choices.
Yeah.
We could select one of our own, or we could wait for him to speak in his own words what he wishes to see at a later date.
Numbat says do one for one of our own characters. We could just leave Night Trace with one pending card.
A harrowing on the subject of Gen Con.
A harrowing on the subject of Gen Con.
Well, let's see. We can do a harrowing on one of our own characters.
Which character?
Why don't you do a harrowing for Miranda Violetta Meredith? Your rebirth psychic.
Harrowing for my rebirth psychic.
Yes.
Alright. We can do a harrowing for Vi.
The end of season 1 of Pathfinder Society.
The end of season 1 of Pathfinder Society. Actually, you know what? We'll do one that is for your Pathfinder Society character in Season 1. That's right, you, whoever is watching this is for your character in Season 1 of Pathfinder Society. Alright. Ooh. Oh my. I see.
Yes. A very fitting card.
Yes, the Tangled Briar.
Very fitting to the situation.
Ah, yes. Well.
Yes.
That makes sense.
Wow, this is a really good reading.
So, here's what we have.
Okay.
The Tangled Briar.
I am not surprised that the Harrow has brought forth such wisdom.
The Tangled Briar. The card of ancient deeds. Your Pathfinder Society character should know that as the Season 1 meta plot continues onward, an object or person from long ago that will somehow have great influence on the situation.
I feel as well that it's not just the direct meaning, but here that we may delve more into the art, and interpret a bit into the picture of the cards. That the briar itself, the mass of thorns, will be a matter of significance.
The object is one lost or murdered in some foul way, but misaligned. It might mean not all that you thought was lost is actually lost, and there is some hope for the future. The midwife represents that something with this dark past also might have been due to a birth of some strange and unknown being. Now, in the present, we have the lyre and the winged serpent dueling each other with their alignment, but at least it is a misaligned lyre. The lyre represents love at its most treacherous. Not the love that moves mountains, the love that rips the heart in two and causes lovers to leap to their deaths. Obsession, unrequited passion, doomed love. But misaligned could indicate a new relationship beginning in a way that is disguised as something much, much worse. Misaligned winged serpent, on the other hand, means that it may seem that now is the time to strike, but seizing the moment might be ill-advised, or it means that the moment was not seized at the time when it must have done. And then the future, a perfectly misaligned empty throne, the ghosts of the past, are those that should be able to represent great wisdom, knowledge, and lessons to teach us, but they may be restless and require effort to set them to peace. That is your Pathfinder Society character's reading
for the events of Season 1.
Season 1.
There may perhaps be some sort of thorned monarch.
Thorned monarch? And also other things from Pathfinder Society's past.
Yes, coming back.
That's right.
Perhaps not all that seemed to be lost is truly lost.
Yes. Obviously, the Harrow knew.
Yes. We are obviously not bringing any of our knowledge to bear in our interpretation of the Harrow cards.
I just kind of am reading it directly from the Harrow booklet, so how could that be my interpretation?
Clearly, what I am adding is not at all informed by knowledge of what happens in certain scenarios.
I feel like the fact that you said some kind of third monarch was the only way that we were bringing any kind of information into it. But up until that point...
Yes, when I think of a thorned monarch, the number 117, Perennial Crown Part 2, also pops into my mind. I wonder why.
Perennial Crown Part 2, the thorned monarch. Woo.
Seriously, though, it's a cool series.
It has all the subsystems.
Mm-hmm.
All the subsystems.
And a great chance to try your hand at some GMG subsystems.
Alright, so we've done some mysterious harrowings. Shall we say farewell to the mysterious YouTube?
Yes.
Bye, YouTube.
Farewell, mysterious YouTube.